Critical to know the law of getting help. I was recently reminded how often I was helped when I desperately needed it. In my 20s, I was far more spontaneous and reckless as I did things without thinking about the consequences. For example, there was a time I met with a friend in Europe and we decided to travel to Greece. I was expecting some money to come through from some agency work, but I left for Greece ahead of my friend. The plan was she would collect my money and meet up at a location we picked out on a map of the Greek island Crete. But the old days were different then. In those days, credit cards were not a thing and neither was the internet. So we discovered the location by selecting it on a map. But unfortunately, we didn't realise it was a tiny little Greek village with limited transport and it took over a couple of days to get there. On my route there, I met some Australian girls on a bus and we chatted for a bit and then parted ways. Later that day, I was walking on the beach, the halfway mark of my travels to the little Greek village, searching for a place to stay for the night. I sat on the white sand, feeling scared and lonely at the thought of spending an entire night alone on the beach. I pleaded to God for help and then got up to walk further along the beach when I spotted the Australian girls that I'd met on the bus. They also decided to camp on the beach and welcomed me to stay with them. When I finally arrived at the location, I waited until my friend arrived with the money. There were no mobile phones, so I trusted she would find her way despite the village's remote location and limited transport options. Again, I was taken care of and a lovely old Greek lady who didn't speak a word of English offered me a small hut to stay in. I promised her I would pay when my friend arrived with the money, which she did around 4 days later. So many times I got help when I asked. This concept leads me to a recent video of Reverend Michael Beckwith talking with Michael Sandler. He clarifies the laws of getting help. He tells a story that goes like this.
I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but I can remember a few years ago I was in Costa Rica and I got caught in a kind of like a double riptide and I couldn't get out of it. I was extremely exhausted. I drifted way out into the ocean. My daughter and I were the only ones on the beach. There was no one for help. And she was like a little ant way on the beach. And she stood up because she knew something was wrong. She knew I was having a challenge. And I remember going underwater, swallowing a lot of water. And I remember thinking to myself, is this my last day on the planet? I hadn't had any prophetic dreams about this. And I didn't feel that it was my last day. So I popped up and out of my mouth came this. This was not even a conscious thought. It just came out of my mouth. I need some help here. I need some help. I asked for help out loud in the ocean. And then I programmed my mind. I said, regardless of how tired the body gets, don't give up. Do not give up. And so I started swimming in to the sides. It took me a long time, but I finally got in. Obviously, I'm here with you. I finally got in. My body was breathing. I mean, it took me a long time to catch my breath, so to speak. So anyway, I come back to Los Angeles. I talked to a friend of mine who is a medium. That's what she does. And I told her about the experience. And she said, do you mind if I peek and take a look at what happened to you? I said, no, go right ahead. So she turns within, she does her thing, and she says, oh, you asked for help. I said, I did. I said, it just popped out of my mouth. She said, the moment you asked for help, an archangel gave you 3 waves. And that's what happened. I had 3 waves that came in that gave me momentum. She said, and she reminded me, she said, you know, the archangel couldn't have helped you unless you actually asked for help because they can't intervene. The angelic realm, the ancestral realm, the archangel realm, the guardian angel realm, they can't intercede unless we ask for help. That's a universal law. They cheer us on, they bear witness, they love our potential, but they can't intercede unless we actually become available, unless we actually ask for help.
So that explains the law of asking, because free will comes into play. The The angelic beings cannot force anything onto us, so we must ask them.